Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, January 21, and listen, we're starting a new season of P.I.L.L method and how to pay off mortgages in 7 years. Well, not just your mortgage, but all of your debt. Listen, we're transitioning over right now. We're on live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And we're so glad to have you here today. Come here to ask your questions today. So thank you so very much, everybody, for being here. We're going to jump right in. We have some people coming in already. Listen, we're pinning a link to the top of the page right now, to the top, where you can come and ask your questions directly. You don't have to be on camera, but if you'd like to be on camera, you can. So just follow the directions, click the link and follow the directions. And I'm telling you, our system works best in Chrome. So if you have Chrome on your computer, go ahead, click that link, come on in, ask your questions today. But if you're a little shy, don't worry about it. You can type your questions in the chat. And we're also wanting you to join our mission. You can be one of the people that helps us to get the idea out here on the P.I.L.L method, because this is information people need to know. And today we're going to be talking about Refi Fantasy, and we're going to include some of our friends in Canada. I had in fact, I received an email this morning about our friend in Canada who is going to have to refi here soon. Now, in Canada, they must refi every 5 years. They don't have a choice. They have to do it. Good morning, Strategic Secrets, coming in here this morning, watching us on YouTube. Good morning to you. Good morning, Bobby Bo. All right, says good morning to you. Listen, everybody else check in. Tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're saying good morning from. We'd appreciate that very much. But back to our story. Listen, the folks in Canada must refi every 5 years. But even if you have to refi, you can put yourself in a better position after refining by avoiding some serious mistakes. And we're going to be going over that today. All right, Bobby Bo from Florida. Listen, I want to tell you a little story, though, just to get started. Here's the story. Did you know that 9 out of 10 people that you know will never pay off a mortgage? and let me give you an example of what's going on there. Okay, Sharon M. Jones is here from Pulaski, Tennessee. Thank you very much for being here today. So, folks, here's what's happening. When we get that first mortgage, you know, we're not making as much money right now. You know, when we get that first mortgage, we're not making as much money as we will in the future. So what we're doing is it gets easier and easier to pay that mortgage. But guess what? 5 years later, 5 to 7 years in on that new mortgage, you know, maybe there was one child and now another one is on the way. And that one little house that we could afford is now going to be too small once the new baby arrives. So what do? We start hunting for a new house. And we buy a brand new house with what? A brand new 30-year mortgage. We've already been in this house 5 to 7 years. And now we're going to get a brand new 30-year mortgage because we need a larger house, which is totally understandable. But folks, if you've been in the house already 7 and you get a brand new 30-year mortgage, isn't that now a 37-year mortgage? Think about it. So what happens next? So now, little Bobby and little April, they're growing up, and in the next 5 to 7 years, all right. So they're getting older, and you plan to put away money for their college. And so this is what you're doing. You're planning on putting that money away. But in 5 to 7 years, guess what? The interest rates come down. And you know what they say. If you can if you can get those interest rates down by 1.5 or 2 points, what are they saying we should do, ladies and gentlemen? What do the experts say we should do if those interest rates drop by 2 points? Yeah, you got it. We should refinance. And now you've been in a mortgage for 14 years. And now you're going to refinance. And most people, 90% of people, when they refinance to a new 30-year loan. You see, we think, here's what we think. The new interest rate, the lower interest rate, is responsible for our new lower payment. And that's what we're focused on, ladies and gentlemen. We're focused on the payment instead of what it's actually costing us long term. So now we've been in this loan 14 years, and now we get a new 30-year mortgage because it's taking what you owe and dividing it by a new 360-month term. That is the driving force that drives the payment down. It's not necessarily the interest rate. It is dividing your new payment by a new your new mortgage by a new 360-month term. That's what lowers the payment. Okay? So now you've been in 14 years. And now you have a new 30-year mortgage. Folks, does that mean you're going to have a mortgage for 44 years now? I'm just saying. Have you bothered to add it up? Okay. And so now remember, remember little Bobby and little April. Come on now, Bobby and April. Now, over the next 7 years, they're ready. They're getting ready for college. And mom and dad really, really, really wanted to make sure that they had the money ready. But for one reason or another, it just didn't happen. So now that we have more equity in the house, when Bobby and little April get ready for college, what do mom and dad do? They refinance to get cash out to send their children to school. And when they do that, they get a brand new 30-year loan. And now they've been in the house for 21 years. Oh, Lord have mercy. Come on. 21 years they've been in this house. And now they've got, now they got a brand new 30-year loan. So after Bobby and April graduate, mom and dad are all done, raising the family, and they're looking forward to grandchildren. Mom and dad have this big old house now. They're knocking around in it. Okay. They've been in the house 21 years already when they got their refinance, and now they've been in the house 28 years. And the house is just too big. What do? They downsize. And when they downsize to a different house, they get a brand new 30-year mortgage. That's the story, ladies and gentlemen. That's the story. 50. So when you add it all up, we're talking 50, 60 years of mortgage, and most people will never pay it off. They will die with that thing. So let's talk about what happens when we refi. So listen, there's whole kinds of reasons to refi, and there's a lot of reasons not to refi. One of the things that you want to focus in on is, does refi actually ever save me money? That's number one. And will it help me pay off my mortgage faster? Number two. These two things it doesn't do. Refinancing does not do that. Doesn't make you don't pay less money in interest, okay? You don't pay off the loan faster, and it's certainly not cheaper when you look at the long-term interest costs of having that mortgage and constantly refining every 5 to 7 years. It doesn't work. Plus, you have to what? You have to give them money to close each time. And we're going to talk about that. So I want to start here. I want to show you some things on the screen why it's necessary, why it may not be necessary to refi at all. Let me show you. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here, but let me give you an example. If you could take this, like this particular client of ours, they owe, let's see, they still owe $123,000. The bank wants them to pay it off in 24 years, but working with us, they're going to be paid off in 8. All their debt paid off in 8.1 years, saving $49,000 in interest. There's no reason to refinance if they're done in 8 years. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. Let's see what this one says. All right. We have here $410,000, and they have a mortgage, they have loans, they have credit cards. Okay. The bank wants them to pay $211,000 in interest on all of their debt and take 33 and a half years to pay it off. Or what if, working with the P.I.L.L method, they could pay it off in 7.3 years and save $139,000 in interest? You see, if we could do that, we don't need to refinance to pay the house off faster and to save money. You can choose a plan that can save you money to get you out of debt faster, and it's not refinancing. All right. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. Okay. 2 mortgages here. 2 mortgages. One's a rental. One's a primary home. Total of $631,000. A total interest cost that the bank wants is $274,000. That's why it takes so long. That's why it's going to take 27 years. Or how would you like to save $143,964 in interest you will not have to pay and pay off your rental and your current home in 13.6 years or less? How about that? Okay. If you could do that, get a 30-year loan and pay it off in 13, pay it off in 7, pay it off in 8. You see, there's really no reason to get a 15-year loan when you can get a 30 and do this. Saves you money, saves you time. All right. Last example here. What about this one? All right. Total indebtedness, $510,000 on a mortgage, several loans and credit cards, total debt. And the bank wants these people to pay them $435,000 just in interest alone. Folks, that's nearly $1 million paid out. Why do that? So if you're going to pay, listen, why take 35.4 years to pay this off the way the bank wants you to do? Or you can work with the P.I.L.L method, save $347,000 in interest you'll never have to pay the bank. Take that money and invest it in your own family and make about $3 million with it in potential wealth accumulation with that money, and pay off everything in 6.5 years. Plus, you have a paid off house and all the equity. Lord have mercy. Why are we refinancing? Why is everybody so caught up in refinancing? And listen, because the Fed is probably through raising rates, and it looks like this year they're probably going to lower the rates. Guess what's going to happen to all those people that are not listening to the P.I.L.L method show? They're going to run out and refinance to get out of those 7% loans, to get out of the 6.5% loans, to get out of the 7.5% loans. Can I give you an example? Can I give you an example of why your 7.5% loan, if you can afford the payment, may be the one to keep? And when the interest rates drop, to 6 or 5.5. Why I can make an argument for keeping your 7.5% loan, because it works better for you in saving interest and saving time. Come to the stage, start asking me some questions about this, because when anybody ever talks about any of this stuff on the internet or anywhere else, maybe they're doing a seminar in your home or at your church, but they're giving you what sounds like good advice, but they never show you the numbers. They don't show you the math. They don't prove out what they're saying by you actually seeing what is going to be the real cost to me to follow these financial instructions. You know what? Dave Ramsey does not give the math. You're talking about the debt snowball. In fact, next week we're going to be talking about the debt snowball. You definitely want to be on that show, okay? The P.I.L.L method versus the debt snowball. We're going to be talking about that. All right. You want to see that, Mr. Ramsey? I hope you tune in to my show next week, because we're going to be talking about how that system helps people pay way more interest than they need to pay. And that's what the bottom line is here, folks. Paying all of that interest. Let's get Brett Whistle up here. Come on, Brett. Talk to me. Now, if you want to do some of this work on your own, okay? You want to do some of this work on your own. Here's what I suggest, okay? Take Brett Whistle here, and I'm going to give you the link. Copy the link. We're going to put it in here. All right. Boom. And paste it. There you go. Thank you, Steve Mack. Steve Mack is in here listening to us. He says, Don, I'm listening to you while I'm cleaning. Okay. All right, Steve, I got you. All right. But listen, people, come to the stage. I love to have a conversation with you. Maybe you have a story. Maybe you have a question around refinancing, because that time is coming. Now is the time to ask your questions. So we have a $350,000 mortgage at 6.5%. Maybe, listen, let me just do 7.5, because some of you bought a house at 7.5. Okay, we gotta get that out of there. Some of you bought a house at 7.5%, and let's take a look at that. Okay, there's some benefits into having this mortgage at 7.5% if you can afford it. So let me show you. And the main thing is these advertisements. I love Brett Whistle. Maybe I should advertise on this thing, and then I wouldn't have to take it off. So let me call Brett up today and see if I can advertise on this. All right. Well, anyway, so here's what's going on. Do you see the principal payment here? See how small it is? When you control the principal payment, you control the loan. I can give you one example to prove why this is important and why the banks don't want you to know this. Okay, here is reason number one why you may want to keep your 7.5% loan, because the principal payment is small. And when you control the principal payment, you control the loan. So if I make my just one payment here, and I make the very first payment, the next month's payment, the next month's principal payment is $261.37. And look at, over $2,000 goes to interest. So if I make this payment here, let's say in January, and I prepay February's principal payment, I give this money, the $261.37, to the bank in January as well. I'm paid down to right here in January, right there. Okay. Already, I'm on line 2 of the amortization schedule, and my next mortgage payment is on line 3. So what happened? For $261.37 that I may even just have in my savings account, making 0.1% interest, I took that money and put it on the principal and knocked off one line off my amortization schedule. Otherwise, if I had waited to February to remove February's line, I would have to give them all of this money, the entire payment, which is $2,447.27. 2447.25. That's what it would take to get rid of line two. But I got rid of line two for only $261.37. It's gone. And what happened to the interest on line two, the $2,185.88? It's gone as well. That's interest I never have to pay. Start inviting people into the show right now. They want to see this as well. Okay. So now, the reason why you may not want to lower your interest rate, because when you do, you make it harder to pay off the loan. That's point number two. Number two, when you lower your interest rate, you make it harder to pay your loan off faster. Can I give you an example of that? All right, show me, Don, because you said that whenever anybody is saying anything, you want to, they need to see the numbers. So we're going to do this. We're going to open. No. We're going to do this. This is what I want to do. Boom, open a new tab and then duplicate this tab. There you go. All right, so now we have that same mortgage, and I'm going to lower this thing to 5.5. All right, I'm going to show you the differences here. Okay, 5.5. All right, get rid of this and get rid of this. There we go. All right, so now 5.5, here's my payment, $1,987.26. And most people say, if I see that down, I may want to do that. All right. I want to, because my payment otherwise is $2447.25. All right. I lower the interest rate and I can get about $500 difference, $1,987.26. Okay. Not only that, but watch this. Here's what I want to show you. It now takes, if I want to do the same thing I did in the last example, I now have to come up with $384.85 to get rid of line two. Watch this. $261 gets rid of one line. $384.85 gets rid of one line. What would happen if I take a look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest? I want to show you why it could be cheaper to keep your higher interest rate depending on how much money you have. Because if you look at saving up some money and look at cumulative principal here, it's $3,226.41. That's how much this family will pay down their loan in just 1 year. But look how much interest it would cost them. $26,000, because we don't know how to read an amortization schedule. We've never been taught. Okay. And if we've not been taught that, how are we going to know what to do? How are we going to know how to read an amortization schedule? It's not taught in junior high. It's not taught in high school. It's not taught in college. It's not taught in grad school. Even if I'm in business school, even if I'm going to become a certified public accountant, I'm not learning how to read an amortization schedule and how to take advantage of it before it takes advantage of me. I'm not learning that at all. So what if we knew this? I know I'm going to pay this down by at least this much in a year, because that is the contract I signed. That's all the principal payments added up. $3,226.41. That's why I like Brett Whistle, because I get these extra columns, cumulative principal and cumulative interest. So I don't lose track of how much interest I'm actually paying. Okay. So here's my question. What if I decided I wanted to give the bank the $3,226.41 all at one time? What if I had that much money to work with and I gave it to the bank on line one? Would they have to subtract that from what I owe? You better believe they would. And here is what it would look like. Okay? Remember, my mortgage is $350,000. $350,000. All right? And so what I'm going to do is put in $350,000. Boom. And we're going to subtract the 3,226.41. Subtract 3,226 and 41 cents. That leaves me 346,773.59. That's exactly what I have here on line 12 of the schedule, the exact same number. Now, you can do it the bank's way and pay them every month, giving them 259, 261, 263, because this is the mortgage payment over in the principal column. And every month you do that, you have to give them 2187, 2185, 2184. You got to give them all of that money every time, every month you give them a payment. But if you give them this money, boom, right here, you're paid down to line 12 in 1 month, not 12. So it is impossible for them to charge you $26,000 in interest to pay your loan down to here. It's only math. It's not magic, it's just math. So if we do this, then I'm only paying $2,187.50 in interest to pay my loan down to here instead of $26,000 in interest. Folks, if I'm going to give the bank money, why don't I just figure out a time when I could give it to them and I don't have to give them all of that interest money? But Don, what does that have to do with lowering my interest rate? I want to show you something here. 3,226.41, 3,000. Good morning. It says Bay Heart Media, grand rising to you as well. Okay. Bay Heart Media is in the house. All right. So we have $3,226.41 that we've paid. What would that do if I had a lower interest rate on the same loan? Okay. What if I had to? So Bay Heart Media says, I'm ready to learn. Listen, you may want to make sure you catch the beginning of this when I'm all done. Go back and watch the replay. Okay. But watch this. This is a $350,000 mortgage at 7.5%. I just found out that if I prepay $32.26, I save a ton of interest, and I paid off 1 year off my loan with $3,226. Okay, $3,226.41. But when I lower the interest rate from 7.5 to 5.5, look what $3,200 does for me. Somewhere between line 8 and 9, it doesn't knock off a whole year. I'm telling you, your money does not work as hard for you when you lower the interest rate. Now, you may need a lower interest rate. You may need to have a payment that you can afford. I'm not talking about you. Do whatever you need to do to get the payment where you need it to be so that you can get the house of your dreams. But most of us don't need that lower mortgage payment. We want the lower mortgage payment because we think we're putting ourselves in a better financial position. If you were able to put yourself in a better financial position, does that mean that the bank would be in a worse financial position? Because you both can't win, right? You both can't win. If you want to be in the best financial position possible, and the bank is in the business of making money and making money for their shareholders, how can you save money and be in a better financial position and they make and continue to make money so that their shareholders will be happy. When you're saving money, they're losing money. And folks, they're not in that position. So this is why I'm telling you, this is why they offer it. Because when you come talking to them about, I want to save money. Listen, what can I do? Can I get a 15-year mortgage? Can I can I buy down the point? Oh, they say, here's somebody who's trying to save money. So let's help them. They're trying to save money, and the mortgage company or the bank says, let's dive in with this client and help them save money. I want you to say that over to yourself time and time again and see how ridiculous that sounds. They're not there to help you to save money. The bank is not your friend. The bank is a business, and you need to approach it with education and with a business mind. And here's your business mind. How can I pay off my home and save as much interest as mathematically possible so I can take that money that I was going to give to you and I can invest it in my family, and so that I can have an inheritance for my children's children? That's the question. That's the position you want to be in. So if we do this, I got another good morning. Audrey, good morning to you. Good morning to you. So listen, so as we're doing this thing, look at this. That is the reason why it's harder to pay the loan off cheaper and faster with prepaying, because your money doesn't work as hard for you. All right, let me give you another reason. Okay. This is called the first 7 years. This is called the rate of change. The rate of change. Okay. If you're a mathematician, you know about the rate of change. Okay. We're talking about the rate of change here. And in the first 7 years, I need you to watch this part. Every month, you pay a little more principal and a little less interest every single month. Every single month, a little more principal, a little less interest, a little more principal, a little less interest. That is how an amortization schedule works. And in the first 7 years, this rate of change, where we're changing from 259 going to principal to 261 going to principal to 263 going to principal, that rate of change is the slowest it's ever going to be in the first 7 years. So when we get down here to where we could see 84, do you see how it jumps up? 406, 409, 411, 414, 417, 419, down to 435. You see here, in the first 7 years, it really starts to pick up. Hey, Bayheart Media, this is where it starts to pick up. So when do you start getting phone calls? When do you start getting mailers? When you start getting that junk mail that says, come and refinance your loan to save money? You start getting those things 5 to 7 years in. Because of this, the rate of change is starting to pick up, where they're actually losing money. See, every time you pay, they get all this money. Now, look, it drops down to $1,900 here. It was $2,000 for a long, long time. For a long time, they're getting over $2,000 a month. And listen, when you get down into line 84, they say, they're getting close to where we're only going to get $1,900, $1,995, $1,992. It's getting to the point where we're not making the ratio that we want to make. It's not just the amount of money, it's the ratio of money. And here's what I mean. Okay. In this first line, we take a look at the total amount of interest that we pay and the total mortgage amount. Let me bring my calculator back. All right. All right, Behar, are you asking questions? So I've got some questions here, folks. I got to pause. Okay. So in the fourth column, all right, yep, the fourth column, that is the cumulative principal column, all right, is the interest plus the payment, right? No, in the fourth column, right, one, two, three, four, okay, this is all of the third column is all of the principal payments added up. That's all of these added up. In the fourth column, that's all the interest payments added up. All these added up, and we added up here. The fourth column is just interest alone. Okay? So if I pay for 12 months in 1 month, I will save those payments. Yes, you will save those payments, but I need you to focus here. You'll save the payments, but you'll still have a payment every single month. So if you pay this $32.26 all at one time on line one, and let's say you did it in January, your February payment is now on line 13. You still have a payment next month. You've just eliminated 11 mortgage payments you'll never have to make and over $20,000 in interest you'll never have to pay by doing that. But you still have a payment next month. So for the P.I.L.L method client, this is 360 payments, ladies and gentlemen. But for the P.I.L.L method client, we want to get it down to 84 monthly payments. How about that? Instead of 360 payments, you can get it down to about 84 monthly payments. That's about 7 years, somewhere between 7 and 9 years on average, instead of 360. And every single month, you got to give them a ton of interest. How about that? All right. Oh, Bayhart Media says that's spectacular. Why don't you come on into the shows, Bayhart? Come on, click that link, and let's talk a little bit. I would love to have you on the show. Be part of the studio audience. Come on in. All right. So that's what we're talking about. Now let's talk about let's talk about that ratio that I was talking about that the bank wants to protect. Okay. They really don't care what the payment is. What? They really don't care what the payment is. And why is that? Because whatever the payment is, they just want to make sure they get the lion's share of it. Okay? So if we have interest of, okay, let's put that back on the screen. Our interest is 2187.50 in the very first month. Okay? That's how much interest we'll pay. Our mortgage payment is 2447.25. So if we do this, we're going to take that, we're going to divide it by our mortgage payment, which is 2447.25 equals. This is what they're concerned about. 89% of your payment is interest. That is what they're concerned about. And every month, every single month, more and more of this gets chipped away. When it starts to get down to 87% of the payment, 86%, 85%, 84, 83, 82, 81. See, as you get deeper into that mortgage, the percentage of the money that they get to charge you starts going down. And after 7 years, the rate of change where they start losing more of that interest money really starts to pick up. So even though you get a lower payment, but if you get a new 30-year mortgage, okay? All right, if you get a new 30-year mortgage, then we can do some the percentage of their money that they take goes right back up, and they love that part. I got somebody in the studio. Who do we have in the studio with us? Click that mic.
Okay.
I got you. I hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay. What's going on, Ice?
Listen, I am doing well. Who is this? Who do we have here?
Original from Clubhouse.
Hey, Original, how are you doing?
Good, good,
All
good.
right. So, what questions do you have for us today?
I actually don't have no questions. You told me to hop on that other thing you seen Bayhard Media. That's my media page on
How
YouTube.
about that? Okay.
But
All right. All right.
yeah, I've seen this formula before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm in the process of purchasing a multi-family.
Right.
So, I'm trying to get my pill method game back up. Because
I hear you.
I
I hear you.
realized how strenuous the process could be, so that you could lower some of those payments. Because that's the
Mhm.
big thing about all that interest. You know, with paying all of that, it could hurt you in the long run, for sure.
No, 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 not could. It will.
It will. Yes, sir.
9 out of 10 people will never pay off a mortgage. That interest is killing us. It's one way that keeps us from growing our wealth. Okay, because when you pay that interest money, guess who's getting wealthy?
The banks.
It ain't us.
Yeah. Okay.
So what if we could save that money? What if we could get the same asset? You can get your same multifamily asset, okay, and pay $200,000 to $300,000 less for it. Wouldn't that
Yeah,
be
that'd be
great?
nice.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
that's what we're talking about, man. That's what we're. Listen, I'm glad you're here. And if you don't have a question now, don't worry about it. If a question comes up, just open up your mic and say, Don, you can interrupt me. Because listen, my producers hate dead air, so they want me to keep presenting and keep talking. All right. So if you're waiting for a time to jump in, don't just come in and ask your questions. How's that, Original?
Yes. Well, then I want to go back to the what I was asking you. Far as I don't think I said the right columns,
Okay.
because the first column is my payment. The second column is the payment plus the interest.
Okay. So here's what
Right.
I've got it
And
on the
then
screen. I got it on the screen right now.
yes,
Okay.
sir.
The first column is we're taking the total payment of 2447.25 and we're dividing it up. Okay. $259.75 of that money is principal. 2,187.50 is interest.
Interest.
It adds up to this $2,447.25. That's the whole payment.
Uh, uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So
I understand.
principal and interest adds up to the payment. And because of amortization, all right, the the next payment, a little more money goes to principal, a little less money goes to interest, but it still adds up to 2,447.25. Each
Uh-huh.
one of these adds up to the same payment.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And
now,
even though, go ahead. What's your question now?
and so the cumulative principal, that is the money that I've paid interest into the mortgage,
This
or
this is the cumulative principal is how much you've paid the loan down by. You start out
yeah,
at 350,000, and 1 year later you paid it down by 32, 26, 41. So
yes,
now you owe this.
and then that's how much interest I done paid them.
This and right here in in column 4,
Yes,
cumulative interest. That's how much interest you paid.
yes,
In other words, you're saying, bank, let me give you $26,000 for the privilege of paying my loan down by $3,226.
absolutely.
Is that a deal?
No, it's not deal. Not for me.
Not for you. Do you see what we're talking about now?
I understand.
Does this make
I
sense?
understand. It makes sense.
And so, do you, when you get your multifamily together, when you close on that thing, all right, when you take that thing down, do you realize that the families that will be paying you rent, you're going to take some of that money and pay your mortgage payment out of it?
Yes.
And it's going to look something like this. Out of all the money that they gave you, let's say this is your multifamily. I'm not saying that it is, but let's pretend that it is. That means they've just given you over $29,000. And out of
Wow.
that $29,000, guess how much you get to keep of it?
3,000.
There it is.
Wow.
So you're looking at the cash flow on the front end. My mortgage payment is 2447, but I'm pulling in maybe 3,000, 4,000, $5,000 in rents. So your cash flow is good. But when you take that rent money that they just gave you and pay your mortgage with it, oh man, 89% of the money that you're using to pay this mortgage with, 89% of it is going to interest.
Correct.
And that's what they are afraid of when an investor gets your mortgage. They want this percentage to be as high as it possibly can be. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
All right. And as you get deeper into the mortgage, let's do the percentages because I said about 7 years is when it starts to really pick up. That's line 84.
What is
Okay.
this? 30 years or 15 years?
This is a 30-year mortgage. You'll
Okay.
never see you'll never see ICE talk about a 15-year mortgage, except that's something you never want to do.
Okay.
Never. Don't ever get a 15-year mortgage. If you even if you don't know me, even if you can't get people to watch my videos, okay, and they're hell bent on getting a 15-year mortgage, just pull up your Brett whistle, tell them what the 15-year payment would be, and tell them get a 30-year mortgage and start making the 15-year payment. You don't need
Oh,
permission to have a 15-year mortgage. You don't need it. So can I figure
so you
out?
saying basically pay half of the time
No,
down
yeah. I'm just saying
and
here,
then continue the 30-year mortgage.
yeah. So if I have this mortgage here, all right, I can take out 300, where it says 360 on my Brett, using Brett whistle and put in 180. Can I do that? That's 15 years, right?
Okay.
180 payments and calculate. Now my payment is, let me get this off. Now my payment is 3244.54. That's what it would be if I had a 15-year mortgage. Why can't
Ooh.
I have my 30-year mortgage and make the 15-year payment?
Okay, I don't think I understand.
Okay, so I have a 30-year mortgage. Okay, my payment is 2447.25. But I figured out what the 30-year payment would be. I don't have to pay the 2447.25. I could pay this one, 3244.54. I can pay $3,200 if I wanted every month, couldn't I?
Yeah.
So if I found out what the 15-year payment was, I could make that. I don't need a 15-year mortgage to do that. If I get a 15-year mortgage, I'm stuck at this payment, $3,244.54. I don't have any choice. By contract, that's how much I need to pay. But what
For
happens
the
if
15 years.
for a
You're
15-year
saying
mortgage?
pay that, get the 30-year mortgage and pay how much it would be for the 15 years, and then you would only have 15 years left. Is that what you're
There
saying?
you go.
Okay.
There you go. So why get a 15-year mortgage when I can just find out what the 15-year payment would be?
Right.
Do you know why they sell a 15-year mortgage?
Is it because they can put higher interest on it for the short time?
Because it's harder to pay the loan off faster.
Ooh.
And they know
So
that.
then they get their money, they get their houses back.
Listen, folks, here's what I need to tell you. Anything you get from the bank, you need to find out what's in it for the bank. You're trying to get out of debt as fast as you can, as cheaply as you can. Correct?
Correct.
And the bank wants to keep you in debt for as long as you can and pay them as much as they can get out of you.
Yep.
Correct?
Correct.
So, why would they ever do anything that would jeopardize their money? By giving you a 15-year mortgage and thinking, they're going to listen. What they're saying to themselves is, if if original really knew what was going on, he can take the 30-year mortgage and be done in 7. But let's sell him a 15-year mortgage instead.
Hmm. I didn't think about it that way.
Listen, anything that the bank offers you, you have to find out where they're making money. So I'll tell it for you and our entire audience that's listening. If you have a question about the bank is making me an offer to do so and so, I will show you where they're making money and you're not. Okay? So, original. So now that I have you here, let me go ahead and finish this example where I was talking about we're starting out at 89% of the payment going to interest. But if we go in 7 years, okay, get down to 7 years is payment 84. Here's our new interest payment. Okay. So if we take that, all right, we're going to bring back our calculator. Here's the interest we'll pay on line 84. Remember, 89% of our money was going to interest, and that means 89 cents out of every dollar you give the bank, 89 cents out of every dollar you're giving the bank goes to interest. And you're paying your
If
house
you
off
put a
with
dollar
11.
on there, that's different.
You're paying your house off with 11 cents out of every dollar.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that what you all want? I'm just saying.
No,
Okay.
we need more of the money.
Okay. All right. So now we're getting down to here where the interest is $2,011.59. Right?
What line are you on? Oh, 84. Okay.
Line 84. Okay. All right. So remember, we take this money and divide it by our full payment. We're going to divide it by our full payment, which is 2447.25. Now, how much of my payment goes to interest? Okay. It's down to 82.
Oh,
That's
by paying that, by going down to that line and paying that amount.
no, what I'm saying is here's where they bank wants you. They want you making every single payment for 7 years. Once you get down to here, their percentage that they get to keep drops from 89 down to 82. And that's when you start getting notices to refinance. So that even though your payment is smaller, the amount of the percentage that they get to take gets higher again. So let's see if that actually works. Okay. So I've got let me see here. Let's refinance this 321. We're going to refinance 321 419. Okay. We're going to copy that and we're going to put that into a new amortization schedule. All right, there we go. Let's put that over here. Here's how much we're going to refinance because that's what we're paid down to. All right, so we'll paste that into there. We got to move that comma. All right, so our interest rate was 7.5. So let's say we can get it down to 6.5, 6.5. Okay, we get it down to 6.5, but they're going to give us a new 30-year loan. Okay, they're going to give us a new 30-year loan. Plus,
wait, new 30-year from the 7 years.
Oh, did you know when you refinance, they give you a new 30-year loan? Did you know that?
Oh no, I would
Yeah.
be. I wouldn't even opt into nothing like that.
Well, most people do.
I mean, just the fact to know that I'm extending the amount of time I'm paying, unless it's a quick investment and I plan on, getting rid of the property in a certain amount of time within those 30 years. Other
Brother,
than that, why renegotiate something that you're planning on, paying off?
that is, if you're in real estate investing and most of your real estate investors, what they're teaching you is you never want to pay it off in the first place. It doesn't really matter. You're just focusing in on this interest is cheap money. Real estate investors are teaching that when you borrow this money, it's cheap money. 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%. It's cheap money because you can turn around and make 10 to 20% cash on cash return with your investment. So the money you're making in your investment is more of a percentage than what you're paying in interest on the mortgage. And that is a fallacy. That has never been true, right? Because now you're paying the bank 89%. That's a lot of money. While you're trying to make 10, 20% over here.
Yes.
So they're not looking at, they're looking at the interest rate, but they're not looking at the interest cost. Okay. I can make 20% over here, but it's only going to cost me 6 or 7% over here. No, a 6% loan, a 7.5% loan does not mean 7.5%. Okay. I need you to see this when it stops moving. A 7.5% loan really means this. Okay. Are you watching the screen?
I'm looking, but I'm like one. I don't even know what that indicates.
Okay. 7.5% really means that you're going to pay back 151%.
Gosh.
Okay.
Okay. I thought that. Okay.
7.5% really means 7.5% really means here's the amount of interest that you'll pay. $531,000
On a $350,000 loan.
There you go, my brother. So it's not cheap money at all by any stretch of the imagination.
Because by the time you made that money, you done lost it.
Come on now. Come on now. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
You see what I mean?
I see what you mean. And so this is the 12. This is what 30 years. 30 years.
That's what they want over 30 years.
Wow.
And this is what we're trying to save people right now. You got that?
Got that.
All right, man. Thank you. So listen, I'm loving the conversation. What else you got for me?
Okay, so wait, you were going to refinance.
I'm going to refinance this loan.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, because I'm following you.
All right, so now I'm refinancing. I took the
smaller interest rate, but we're going to see if the percentage of money goes up.
Yes.
Within that. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because we were down to the percentage of money, we got down to 82%.
Right.
Okay. Let's see where this would take us. All right. Now, I want to show this in this way because now we got 321,000. We paid it down to here, but we have to refinance this. So there's closing costs on the refinance, correct?
It is?
Yes. You got to pay for that. Okay. So you got to pay for that. And I've seen it and where it's somewhere between $8,000 and $17,000, depending on who you're working with. But let's just say it's about $10,000 to refinance this loan.
Okay, so how much more left do we owe on the loan? The 321 for 19?
Right. So this is how much we
from
owe.
The 84th payment from the other amortization schedule.
Listen, I'm glad you're here because now you're making me prove it. Let's go back to line 84. Okay. We're going to go back to line 84. Now, because you're talking to me, there is a slight delay between what you see and what we're saying here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're down to line 84. Has it stopped moving yet? We're down to 321,419.24. Line 84.
I'm here with you.
Okay, great. That's what it is. And that's what I put in here. I put in here 321,419.24. That's what I put in here. All right, there we go. Now, we have to fix this because we have closing costs and they roll in the closing costs to the loan. This is another reason why we don't do this. This is another way they make money is rolling in the closing costs into the loan. So we're combining two examples. Okay. The rate of change and how much money they make on the closing costs. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So 321, if it costs $10,000, then it's going to be 331. Okay. 331 419.24. That's how much you're refinancing, correct?
Okay.
And we took it from 7.5 to 6.5. All right. So let's and they're going to give you a new 30-year loan because
So you telling me in 7 years
yes, sir. You're
you
stuck
only
there, aren't you?
paid? Hold on. Can I do some math real quick?
Go right ahead, brother. Ask me and I'll do it for you right quick.
So you saying this is $350,000 loan?
Right.
You 350,000 minus the 331. What
Right.
would that be?
No, that's how much we're paid it down to. We've only
Right.
paid off. We're at 350. We've paid it down by $28,000
In
in
7 years.
7 years. That's it. And
That's
and the
it.
amount of interest that we've paid already is $176,988. That's how much interest we've paid already in 7 years. Okay. And now we're going to take what we paid down to 321 419. We're going to now take that and refinance it into a new 30-year loan.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Okay, so we've only paid it down by 28,000. All right. So now, when I refinance it, I've paid it down. I paid off 28,000, but I'm going to refinance it. Now I got to have closing costs of about $10,000 or more. So the 28,000, I just reduced that by 10,000. I've only paid it down by 18 now. So I am now going to refinance this thing, put $10,000 in on my principal now at 6.5. Let's see what happens. Here's my payment. All right. So my payment now is $2,094.80. I've improved my cash flow. If I'm just looking at here's my payment and here's how much rent I'm charging. The payment is going down, but the rent I'm charging is going up. But we're not just looking at making money on the front end. We need to see what it's going to cost us on the back end as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so here's my new payment. So my new payment, out of my new payment, I've got $299.61 going to principal, $1,795.19. All right. Let's just see where we are in our percentages. So we bring our calculator back. All right. We're down to 82% that was going to the bank out of our payment. Let's see where we are now. So our full payment is 2,000. I got to make a note here. 2,094.80. There we are. 2,094.80. Now, let's take a look at get rid of this ad. All right. Our new interest amount is $1795.19. Okay. $1795.19. All right. And we're going to divide it by our new payment. Okay. Our new payment divided by 2,094.80. We were down. And we were down to 82%. Now we're back up to 85%. They don't care what the payment is. All they care about is what percentage they get to take home after you make your payment. And now we're starting over at 7%. We're starting at 7%. All right. And listen, but listen, I got to stop. Ruby Designs loving the demo and gave us a little tip. Gave us a tip of $4.99. Thank you. All right. So every time we get a tip, we got to do the air horn.
I love it. I love it. Perfect timing too.
All right. So I forgot what that's called. A super chat. A super chat. All right. You'll see that little button there. Go ahead. And if you like what you're seeing, give us a little tip if you like it. All right. So do you see how it went from 82 up to 80, 85?
I see.
And with the rate of change,
That's with the first payment
right? And
of
with
the
the
new refinance
exactly,
amortization, right?
yep. And now it's going in the first 7 years, that rate of change where it goes from 85 to even lower, it's slower in the first 7 years. So in 7 years, what do you think they're going to ask you to do again, my brother?
Refinance.
Exactly. And do you know how many people will do it because they can get a lower interest cost? I mean a lower payment, but not a lower interest cost. All right, now
That's ridiculous.
we're done with this example. We're going to go into the next one. Why do they roll the refinance fee, the closing costs into the mortgage, even though it's a lower interest rate? Okay. So I just put $10,000 on here, right? On my, because I paid it down to
21.
321,000,
Yes.
but I rolled in $10,000 in closing costs. So now I'm at
But the
331.
closing costs.
Right, the closing costs.
But why is there a closing? If I already have this house and I'm
Mhm.
closing on it,
Yeah,
I mean, and I already closed on it,
yeah,
then why am I? Oh, because I refinanced it.
exactly. It's a new
Okay.
mortgage now.
Yeah, yeah,
They got to get paid.
yeah, they do.
Yeah,
For
they
the
do.
work.
They got to get paid. They got to get paid. So now
Okay.
so now you're paying them. So once you pay them the $10,000, now we want to pay the loan back down to where we were before, right?
321. Yeah.
All right. All right. So Amari Park says they roll the fees to make the principal higher. That is so correct, Amari. You are so correct. All right. And so watch this. So now we got to pay back the first $10,000. Okay. Does that make sense? We got to pay back 10,000 to get back down to our original 321 before we refinance. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, original. Let's do that. So in the first year, how much of the $10,000 have we paid back? I need you to see when it stops moving.
1 second.
Line 12.
Now, I say that again.
So in the first year, how much of the $10,000 have we paid back?
3,700. Dang.
How much interest have you paid on that $10,000 loan you just rolled into the mortgage?
21. What?
Come on, man. Do you see how much money they're making? This is just on the $10,000. I'm trying to pay off the $10,000 we rolled into the loan. Okay. So after 2 years, I've paid it down by $7,600 and paid them $42,000 in interest, trying to pay off the $10,000 I rolled into the loan.
So I don't know how to ask this question, but I'm gonna just ask it how I feel.
Ask it. Just go ahead and ask it.
So there's no good way to actually refinance. There's never a good way to refinance a loan.
That is not true. There is a good way.
Okay.
I'm just showing all the ways that the reasons why people refinance, the main reasons why they do it, they're not good.
Yeah.
I can go over some good reasons to refinance. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yes, sir. No, I don't want you to go there, but I'm just curious. Like, okay.
Yeah. There are some good reasons to refinance. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So by the time we've paid off $10,000 cumulative principal, it takes 31 months. Okay. That's 2.5 years to pay off $10,000 we rolled into this loan.
That's ridiculous.
And how much interest do we pay on that, my brother?
You haven't even started paying back off the loan that you refinance.
Ooh, listen. Wait a minute. We got to do an air horn on that. Okay. So in 31, you're right. In 31 months, you have not put a dime on the mortgage. In 31 months, all you've done is paid off
the closing
costs.
Yes.
So you know what I call that?
How they robbing you?
What I call that is how do you not pay on your mortgage for 31 months and still keep your house? because you didn't put a dime on the mortgage on the amount of money you borrowed at first. You're just paid off the closing costs. How much interest did you pay to pay off these closing costs, sir?
What, 54,000?
Yep. $54,000 in interest to pay off a $10,000 loan, and you got a lower interest rate. So let me ask you something. If you borrow $10 from me and I say, pay me back my $10, but give me $10 in interest, do you know what that interest rate is?
No, it is.
It's 100%. So when you
I mean,
pay,
you want $20 back.
yeah, I want $20 back.
Okay.
I lend you $10. I want you to pay me back my $10 plus another 10. That's 100% interest, isn't it?
Yes.
So if I borrow $10,000 and pay back $10,000 plus $10,000 in interest, isn't that 100%?
Correct.
What if it's $20,000 in interest? What would it be then? 200%?
Wait. You said what
I
if it's
borrowed $10,000. I pay back 10
yes.
and $10,000 in interest. That's 100%.
Okay, yes.
Now I'm going to double it and give them $20,000 in interest to pay back the same 10,000. Isn't that 200% interest?
Yes, that is.
What if it's $30,000? What would that be?
300% in interest.
Exactly. What if it's $40,000 in interest?
It'll be 400%.
But we pay back what? $54,000. Isn't that 500% interest?
That's 500% interest.
So people who refinance.
My bad. It took me a minute to process that.
I know it takes a long time because nobody's teaching it.
No, sorry.
Listen, and I get it. Take all the time you need to get this, because not only are you helping yourself, you're helping everybody who's watching this video and who will watch it after this. Because they don't know this. Nobody's telling them this. I'm telling you this for free. 540% interest on a $10,000 loan, and this person has perfect credit. And they don't even realize that's what they're doing. So the refinance actually costs how much money when you add up the principal and the interest? How much does the refinance actually cost? $64,000.
Oh yeah, because plus the 100%.
There you go. You got to take the 10,000 plus the 54,000. That's what the true cost is to refinance this loan.
Got to take that closing cost and add it to it.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick, okay? Before we move on to the next, because I've been in here an hour and 15 minutes. Our max is 2 hours. Our max is 2 hours, okay? But sometimes we try to go an hour and a half. But since you're asking these questions, let's take a look at what we could do if there was a reason for me to refinance. I'm not going to go into all the reasons that are good to refinance, but one of them is if you have your investment property and if you're following the P.I.L.L method, you're able to get equity faster and cheaper. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So you can get your equity faster and cheaper using the P.I.L.L method, because now you're learning how to prepay optimally, when to prepay, how to give the bank money that makes it impossible for them to charge you interest. So let's say you can get down to where you can take out $100,000 so that you can now you refi to take out your $100,000 or so that you can buy more property. That's a good reason to refi. You follow me?
Are you saying to refinance it so that you have more time to pay it down?
No, I'm saying if you refinance it, you can take cash out your equity on the multifamily property you're going to buy.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say when it grows in value, because your house your property is going to grow in value. And that means you have more equity. Let's just
Okay.
say when you
Okay.
refinance it, you're going to now take out some of your equity, 100,000 of your equity, and you're going to take that money and invest it in other properties. You see what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Okay. Now, let's just say they charge you $10,000 for closing on that new loan on your refinance.
Okay.
I'm saying roll the fee into the loan. But when do you pay off the first $10,000? In 30 months or in the first month?
I think in the first month,
There you go. In the first month, if you pay that
especially
off,
if you got the equity.
yes.
Yeah.
So you take that $10,000 and pay it off in month one, you're down to here in 1 month. You just saved yourself $54,000 in interest you don't have to pay.
Wow. Okay.
You see what I mean?
I see
So
exactly what you're saying.
there's some things you can do to help you to save money. And there are people who have to refinance every 5 years. People in Canada have to refinance every 5 years. And they can knock down their costs by doing this. And I always get the longest term available. That's another thing. If you're in 7 years, okay, here's what you don't do. Don't take a shorter term. Always get the longest term. Go back to 30 years. Okay. Because if you're following a plan to prepay your loan, you can pay it down cheaper and faster if you start with a 30-year loan. Okay. Never reduce the term or reduce the rate because you make it harder to pay the loan off faster and cheaper. All right. Some of my other videos go into that in more depth.
Okay.
But here's a reason why you may want to pay that off in a second rather than waiting.
And you said that
Yeah.
when you refinance it for these purposes, you always try to get the longest terms.
I always try to get the longest term. Listen, if I am buying a car, I want the longest term available. If I'm getting a house, I want the longest term available because I can pay it off. I can pay it off cheaper and faster than what they want me to. And I put myself in a better position to control the loan with a smaller principal payment if I get the longest term. I want to control the loan with the principal payment
Okay.
because I'm going to prepay. I'm going to prepay this thing where I get, if I have a small principal payment, then it doesn't take me very much money to wipe out one line. I control the prepayments with the principal, with my principal prepayment, and every line I skip, the interest I skip doesn't matter. Okay. If I prepay this amount, if I prepay the $10,000 right here, all these interest payments I skip don't matter, do they?
No.
It doesn't matter what the amortization schedule says I got to pay all of these. Oh, I just skipped them. I don't have to pay any of that. Boom. That's over $50,000 in interest I don't have to pay because I gave them the 10 grand early. Boom.
Wow.
You need to know that going into this. Every real estate investor needs to know how much interest they're paying when they do this. Okay. All right. So now we've gone over, let me see. I got a higher percentage of the interest being charged. So we went over that part. We went over the fact that when you refinance, you get tricked into paying anywhere between 200 and 500% interest on the closing costs. We've done that, right?
Yeah.
And we've gone over by lowering the interest rate, you can make it harder to pay the loan off cheaper and faster because you increase the principal payment by doing that. It is very possible to make it harder. I love having a low principal payment on my loans because I have more control over the loans.
Or how much you pay, right?
Exactly. Can I show you an extreme example?
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me use the restroom. Give me 1 second.
Okay, too much information. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what we're doing. We're going to take a quick break here, and hear from Dr. Eric Thomas while I get a drink of water, and we'll be right back.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've hit all my points. I didn't think I was going to be able to get it all in one session, but we did. Okay. We got it all in. Let's see. I've got every single point I wanted to make today. We were able to get it done. Do I have anybody that wants to ask some additional questions? Did you get something out of this? Are you hearing about how the bank uses refinancing to take advantage of folks thinking they're getting a better deal when it makes it harder to pay the loan off faster, when they increase the amount of percentage of the money that you get to use to pay down your loan and increase the amount of percentage of their money that they keep from you by refinancing? You thought you were making your life better, when in fact you're making your life worse by giving them more money, and they keep more money. They don't care what your payment is. They just care about what percentage of the money they get to keep. I mean, wouldn't we all? So that's what we're talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go ahead and ask your questions. All right. It says, I would like to ask a question. All right. Listen, come to the stage. You can type it, or you can click the link and ask your question. So I got Carmen Bergeron from Canada. I have Audrey, and I have Johnson Arlu. All right. It says, go ahead, click the link, come to the stage, follow the directions, and you can ask your question in person. All right. Or you just type it in. It takes longer to type it in, though, because then the show might end. How about that? So go ahead, come to the stage and ask your question. All right. Let's see. What is the difference between refinancing and a HELOC? Okay. When you refinance and you're taking cash out, when you're refinancing and taking a cash out, all right, you start paying interest right away on the amount of cash that you take out. Let's say you have $100,000 in equity. All right. When you refinance your loan, you just increased your loan by $100,000 and you start paying interest on that immediately. If you take that same equity and take out a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, you have a line of credit worth $100,000, but you haven't borrowed any of it yet. So you're not paying any interest yet. And when you do borrow some, you're only paying interest on the amount that you borrow. If you borrow $10,000 off your equity line, then you only pay interest on the $10,000 until you pay it back. All right. And because it's an equity line, it's a revolving line of credit, meaning you can borrow money, pay it back, borrow money, and pay it back. And it's usually good for about 10 years, right, before you have to renew it. Okay. That's the difference between a HELOC and refinancing. In fact, if I had my druthers, I would much rather have a HELOC, all right, instead of refinancing. It looks like we have somebody on stage with us.
Hi, Daniel.
Hello, Carmen. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm sorry, it's Dawn. Yes, I had you piqued my interest when you said that in Canada we have to do a mortgage refinancing, or it's a renewal we have coming up for my son on February 3rd. And you mentioned something about not having to do a renewal. Is that right? Did I remember? Did I
Oh,
understand?
no. I said Canadians have to do a renewal.
Okay. Okay. So
Yes.
there are ways to prevent the that interest damage that we saw in your example. So I think that to get the longest mortgage term possible,
Yep.
and a 30-year if at all possible.
Right. And then pay it off in the program. And so you have an opportunity cost calculator of your own, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. And because you take care of your son's finances, if I understand that right, you want to take that mortgage, put it in there, and then use the opportunity cost calculator to pay a lot less interest and pay the loan off faster for your son, correct?
Correct. But when I did buy that uh, calculator,
Mhm.
it was only for debt outside of a mortgage because we never did have a mortgage. We always,
So you can't put a mortgage in it.
no, no.
So that means you're going to have to upgrade, but that's okay. We can take care of that.
Okay.
Okay. Upgrading is going to be perfectly fine. And all the people that are listening to us in Canada, we talk about prepaying and paying off loans, but in Canada, they have prepayment penalties for mortgages. I don't want you to worry your head about prepayment penalties. Don't ever worry about that, because here's what the penalty you pay is far less than the amount of interest you're going to save. I can give you a quick example of this. I had a couple in Canada, and we're going to show them how they could pay off $10,000. Okay, I'm sorry, $100,000 on their mortgage. Okay, so let's just say we're going to use this one as an example. Okay, we'll use this one as an example. And let's say if we pay off $100,000 on your mortgage, and I'm scrolling down here, scrolling down. We pay off $100,000 on this particular mortgage. It saves $301,000 in interest. So when we put the information into the calculator on the bank's website in Canada, they actually have a calculator that you can use to find out what your penalty would be if you prepaid outside of the rules that they give you. Stay inside the rules, you pay no penalty. Go outside the rules, you have to pay a penalty. The penalty to save this kind of money, and in fact, to pay off $100,000, you can see how much interest you could save. It was $1,200. That's the penalty, $1,200 to save a ton of interest. I'd make that trade any day. The problem with by not understanding how an amortization schedule actually works is when you go to the bank, all they talk about is the penalty. They never, ever talk about how much interest you're going to save by prepaying. And don't even ask them to figure it out for you, because they don't have the software, they don't have the knowledge, they're not taught to give you that answer over the phone. I don't care how many times you ask. I don't care if you go up to the president of the bank. They're not going to be able to answer these questions for you because they're not taught to answer them. The people who own the bank can answer it, but they're not telling their employees how to answer it. Guaranteed. Carmen, do you have another question for me?
Yes. So I'm offered a fixed close term, a mortgage renewal
Yes.
at 5.59% with a monthly payment of $1,003.73, which is all being paid by a mortgage insurance my son had before his accident.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if it's best not having a fixed closed, but an open closed or an open variable. No, open. Is there such a thing as an open close? I don't think so.
Okay. So what now? Talk to me. So are you talking about a fixed payment on this mortgage? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, fixed closed term, that's what it says here.
A fixed closed term.
And it's a 5-year.
5-year term. Okay. So so it could be talking about a fixed rate. So I would have to take a look at the paperwork, but here are some of your options. Okay.
Okay.
I would want to make sure that what kind of interest rates they're talking about, and if it's going to cost you extra to get a fixed as opposed to having a variable rate loan. So if that's what it's talking about.
So it does say this term is at 5.59%. So I think it would be a difference in the percentage monthly costs on the
Mhm.
on the mortgage. So I think it would be maybe up to 7 or something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay, so here's what we would want to find out. We would want to find out what our options are, and then we would do the math. Okay. There is no one rule of thumb here, Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to say, okay, how much would it cost me to interest cost if I did it this way with the options they're giving me?
Mm-hmm.
Give me 2 options. What would option A cost me long term? What would option B cost me long term?
Mm-hmm.
Put it into an opportunity cost calculator that
Mm-hmm.
helps you to pay off the loan cheaper and faster. Which option works best in the loan? And the
Mm-hmm.
only way to figure that out is to do the math. There is nothing I can't look at and say, this is the best thing to do. I have to do the math. And anybody else who is giving you an answer to this question would have to do the math as well to see how much it's going to cost you long term.
Okay. Dawn, I want to tell you that my association with you has opened my eyes into how banks could make mistakes.
Yes.
And I just did a calculation as to the difference, what they were stating me with the balance of his mortgage
Mhm.
compared to the calculation I was able to do, the opening balance minus the December payment and my January payment.
Yes.
It's showing that their balance is at over $1,000 more than what it should be, and
Mm.
that's just for 2 months. And then when I look back to December of 2022, there's a difference of over $9,000 more than what it should be at
Ooh.
date here. So I know there's some errors. There's been a lot of errors with the mismanagement of my son, being that he's been with the Office of the Public Guardian and Trustee for since his accident, and I've just become his statutory guardian. And so I see there's a lot of errors that need to be corrected. But if it wasn't for my knowledge of what you're teaching, I wouldn't have known this at all.
Well, thank you very much for that, Carmen. What we're going to be able to do if we're working together, not only will you be able to use the opportunity cost calculator, which is an AI powered cloud based computing platform that does all of the math that tells you how much money to move, what month to move it in, what day of the month to move it on, so that you can save the maximum amount of interest per dollar for your son.
Mhm.
You'll also get coaching so that you can ask the questions and then we can put the information into the program correctly so that we can get an optimized result. You're not going to be left alone to figure that out for yourself.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay.
All right. So listen, so what we want to do is make sure that you get a savings and earnings report. Okay. Be able to put the finances that we're working with into our program so that we can do what's called a savings and earnings report for you so that you can see the month, day, and year that your son's house would be debt free, how much interest it could save.
Now I'm wondering if for him, being that he's getting 150% of his mortgage
Mhm.
monthly,
Yes.
and I'm wondering if for him being that that's going to would stop once his mortgage is paid, correct? Then I guess the value would be in his home rather than his yes.
Yes. And so there's a lot of options you could do then because HELOCs are very home equity lines of credit are very popular in Canada. So that may be an option as well. Looking at his other income, we'll be able to get that for him. And in fact, it might be able to combine your income and his to be able to help to get that HELOC for him if he needs that cash. So there's a lot of options going on here.
He does have a line of credit as well.
Oh, well, listen, that's already done. You see what I mean? So you can access that equity a lot easier. So yeah, you have a lot of options there, but to know what to do, there is no one rule of thumb to tell you. You'd have to do the math and figure out how many different options do we have and which one of the options costs you the least amount of money overall. Okay. And that's going to be easy to figure out. We can work on that together.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have any other questions for me, Carmen?
I probably do have loads, but there's so much I have to look at with my son's managing his situation there. It's I appreciate all the help I could get from you. Thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And that's Carmen. She's from Canada. And so listen, folks, this is why we're P.I.L.L Method International. We do this work in several countries around the world. So if you know anyone outside of the Canada or outside of the United States that wants to save money on their mortgages or other debt, you need to have them start watching these videos. All right. And don't forget about joining the P.I.L.L Method. All right. Join the P.I.L.L Method and become a subscriber. All right. So not just click on the thumbs up, and you need to do that as well if you like what you're seeing. If you like what you have here, click that thumbs up, but also join with us. I mean, partner with us. And there are certain benefits that partners get when you partner with the P.I.L.L Method. So I want to give this information to Carmen. Carmen, what you want to do is go to ice10k.com. Okay. We're going to put that. I'm going to put that on the screen. All right.
Okay.
ICE, which stands for Interest Cancellation Expert. ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com. And when that comes up, you'll be able to see a video there of Eric Thomas, who's the #1 motivational speaker in the entire world. Scroll down underneath his picture, and you'll see a button there that says Get a Savings and Earnings Report. And fill that out. It's a 2-step process. Fill that part out. Verify your email. When you verify your email, it'll let you to the financial portion. Put your portion in there. Click submit. Someone from my staff will give you a call, confirm the information, and then we will get into the month, day, and year you could be debt-free, how much interest you could save, what we could help you and your son be able to achieve financially.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. All right.
Now, how do you go back to your original video? I had to close out because there was your 2 videos going on once I went into your show here.
Yeah.
So without to lose nothing of your show, how do I log out here to continue?
Oh, yeah, you can just the directions should be there. But if you want to stay here and watch it, but once we're done, this stays up forever. So yeah, you can go back. You can just turn this off, or we can dismiss you.
With you.
Turn that off, and then you can go back to YouTube. Okay. There we go. Original, you're back.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right. All right. So let me see whatever questions I've got here, Original. Let me take a look and see what we have here. Because now the question's coming in hot and heavy. All I got to do is say I gotta go, and then people want to come in at the last minute and ask their questions, which is, that's okay. So I answered this from Audrey. What is the difference between refinancing and HELOC? And Johnson R. Lou, who's right here in Huntsville, Alabama, says, I thought about refinancing, but now I know better. Well, I want to tell everybody. Okay. Not even the P.I.L.L method, not even ICE, the interest cancellation expert, not even I can look at a situation and say, you should refinance or not refinance. What is your situation? And what are your options? And let's see which one costs you the least amount of money. I just showed you some of the popular reasons why people refinance, and it doesn't do what they want it to do. We haven't talked about what the benefits of refinancing can be. There are some, but you need to know the whole story, and we haven't been given the whole story. I'm just telling you what we've been taught doesn't work. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about what does work. All right. So we may do a whole different show on the benefits of refinancing and how we can use the P.I.L.L method to understand how we can take advantage of the benefits of refinancing. All right. Well, let's make a note of that, Ruby. Let's see if we can do a show on that as well. Okay. So Amari, what do you got for me here? She says, what is a quick difference between the P.I.L.L method and Dave Ramsey? People keep mentioning him, and I say your method is not the same. It is not the same. It is not the same. In fact, next Friday, I believe it is. All right, we're going to be doing a show on the P.I.L.L method versus the debt snowball. Listen, I want Amari. I want people to know I did not pay you to ask that question. Okay. Okay. So if you can see on your screen the P.I.L.L method versus the debt snowball, the very tool that Dave Ramsey promotes to pay off the debt, I'm going to show you the difference between the P.I.L.L method and the debt snowball, and some of the things that Dave Ramsey teaches versus what we teach here at the P.I.L.L method. And you're going to be amazed. It is not about paying off the debt fast. It's all about paying off the debt cheap. And the debt snowball is expensive to operate. We're going to show you that. Okay. So we got KAA. What do you got for us here? Says, what does it look like starting the P.I.L.L method years into the mortgage loan? Okay. What does that look like? Okay. So first of all,
I like that question right there. I like that because it's still possible.
It most certainly is. It most certainly is. So let me put something on the screen here. We're going to use one of these. All right. I'm years into this loan. Okay. I started out at 350,000. 10 years in is
I was going to say 7 years, but go ahead.
Yeah. 10 years in. All right. That's 120 payments. I'm down to $303,000. Okay. So if I know that, so I've taken off 120 payments. So we put into Brett Whistle, okay, a new mortgage. Here's how much we owe. Now I'm 10 years in. Okay. We paste that in there. That's how much I owe. And now you're calling us. All right. Let's say the interest rate on this is says if you've been in a while, the interest rate is probably going to be closer to 4%. Okay. So now you started out at 360 payments. We're going to subtract 120 payments. So now you have 240 payments left. Okay. So we put the 240 payments in here. And now I can see, now we don't use this. So I'm just showing you how you could figure this out. We use a different system, but it's similar. So this is how much interest you still have to pay on this loan. Okay. The amount of interest you still have to pay is $138,000. $138,000. Let me give you an example. What if now you have right now you're going to come to us saying, I have 20 years left on this loan, 20 years left on this loan, and a total of $138,000. We can take your 20 and we can pay it off in about 7. Okay. I take that 138,000. Now I'm just giving you an example here. So we take that 138,000 and 138,000. All right. We could probably get you down to between $40,000 and $45,000 in interest paid. Okay, instead of the 138,000 the bank is looking for. Okay, and might even be less. Okay, so I'm just giving you a kind of a thumbnail sketch. Our program tells you exactly how much interest you can save and the month, day, and year you could be debt free. So even if you're 10 years in, or even 15 years in, what we need to figure out is how much interest do you have left to pay? How much interest can we save you? And then we're going to take a look at how much of that interest we save you, how much of that money that the bank was supposed to get, how much of that money will pay for your lifetime program. We're going to show you how we're going to make your bank pay for your lifetime program to save you interest money and get you out of debt faster. And that's just the first house. Do you know we have people that are paying off their second, their third, their fourth, their fifth house on this program? Because every time they pay off a house, they put a renter in it. I love that part. Okay. So let's go, folks. Let's go. Let's get that savings and earnings report today. All right. So that takes care of that question. Have I taken care of all the questions so far? All right. I think I've done that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to go over just some of the things that you could do. Please think about partnering with us. And every now and then, if you want to, you appreciate the information that you're getting, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, because that helps us on our algorithm. Okay. So I'm going to, let me see here. I'm going to pull this up so I can see it on my side and see where we are. Okay. So anyway, so don't forget to get your savings and earnings report. Go to P.I.L.L method. All right, hold on for a second. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. And when you go there, you will, let me bring that up. Click on the button that says get a savings and earnings report. Okay. All right. Get a savings and earnings report. Once you get your savings and earnings report, you will be able to get that for free. When you click on this, get your savings and earnings report for free. Know the month, day, and year you can be debt free and how much interest you can save. Once you do that, also, I need your help. I need your help in getting this information out. You can become a P.I.L.L Method affiliate for free. Click the button down here, okay, that says become a P.I.L.L Method affiliate. When you become a P.I.L.L Method affiliate, you're filling this information out, putting in your name, your phone number, your email address, and how you want to get paid. Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal. And every time you send somebody over to us, and how does that work? Listen, I'm not very good at sales. So how can I become an affiliate? I'm not very good at sales, because sales is not required. There's nothing to sell. What you do is this. You will go to fill this out. And when you're talking to your friends, or maybe you're putting it out on your Facebook page or whatever, how people can get out of debt. Maybe you're tired of how much interest you're paying. Maybe they're tired of not getting anywhere and paying off their debt. Maybe they're tired of that. You say, well, go over to the P.I.L.L Method YouTube channel right here. And we're getting a facelift on our YouTube channel. It's going to look look much different in the days to come. Much different. So go over to the YouTube channel, have them watch the videos. Okay, have them watch these videos. Turn your debt into wealth. Real estate gold. Paying off your mortgage in 7 years. The 2% mortgage blueprint. Have them watch some of those videos. Okay, and as they watch those videos over the next 2 days, get back with them in 2 days. And when you get back with them, ask them if they want more information. If they do, go back to that same ice10k.com. Okay? Go back to that same ice10k.com. Scroll down past my picture. I got my picture here. Okay? Scroll back down past my picture and you'll see a button that says refer a friend. Click on the button that says refer a friend. You fill out the information, not them. You fill out the information, put their name, their phone number, their email, their zip code, or if it's in case of out of the country, their postal code, okay, for Canada and elsewhere. Put in their postal code. Who referred them? Put your name and your number here because you referred them. And give us any more information about this person you're sending us. All right. And then click submit. We only want to talk to people who want to do something better or something different. We are not in the business of changing anybody's mind. I want to be very clear. If a person is completely satisfied with how they're handling their finances, please don't try to send them our way. They're good. They're satisfied. We only want to talk to people who are dissatisfied with what they're doing, and then they watch the videos. And please don't send us anybody who hasn't watched the videos first. Give them 1 or 2 days to watch videos, but no longer than 48 hours. Call them back if they want more information. Fill this out. Click submit. We'll take it from there. And once they become a client, we'll pay you anywhere from $300 to $3,000 in a month, depending on how many people you send us in that month. Okay. It is the best way we know to make a little extra money without having to do sales. And you're helping people all at the same time. All right. And they'll be able to do things like this. Can you imagine paying off debt in 6.5 years, paying off debt in 13 years, depending on what's going on here. Here's another one, paying off debt in 7.3 years, saving $139,000 in interest. Here's another one, paying off debt in 8.1 years, saving $49,000 in interest. So this loan only had, when they came to us, they only had $123,000 left on their mortgage, but they had refinanced it. Okay. So that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. No matter where you are, the P.I.L.L method might be able to help you. Now, are there times when the P.I.L.L method can't help you? It all depends on what you're looking for. If you come to us in the last 5 years of your mortgage and you want to save a lot of interest, well, that ship has sailed. A lot of the interest has already been paid, and there's nothing we can do about it. But if you have a reason to get out of debt faster than the 5 years or the 10 years you may have left, then you may want to talk about it. But if we can't help you accomplish your goal, and I will repeat this, you have a financial goal. So no matter where you are in your finances, whether you have a lot of time left or a small amount of time left, tell us what your financial goal is. We'll see if we can help you get to your financial goal. If we can't help you meet your financial goal, then the P.I.L.L method is probably not for you. We can give you some advice on what you could do to save some money, but you probably don't need our program. And our staff will tell you that. All right. We'll be honest with you. We'll be upfront with you. And if we can help you, guess what? The amount of interest you save pays for your program. We want to take that money away from the bank, pay for your program, and then you keep the rest and invest it. That's what we want to do. So, folks, I want to thank you for being here with me. We've been here an hour and 57 minutes. we're going to get out of here and be coming back next Friday, where we talk about, come on, let's go talk about it. The P.I.L.L method explained. The P.I.L.L method explained is next Friday. We're going to go over in depth. And next Sunday, we're going to go over the P.I.L.L method versus the debt snowball. Oh my goodness. Put Dave Ramsey on notice. To have Dave Ramsey come into the studio next week, be part of the studio audience, that would be a great conversation to have. I think even Dave would have to admit that the debt snowball is not about saving interest. I think he would tell you that. So next Friday, the P.I.L.L method explained. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody who participated on the show today. Thank you everybody who came in. Thank you everybody who clicks thumbs up. Go ahead and click that thumbs up before you leave. And also, let's see, click the thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and right next to the subscribe button, you can click join and become part of our team to help us to promote truth in lending, truth in interest cancellation. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure, and we'll be back here next Friday. Share this channel with everyone. See you next week.